Hey everyone, and welcome back to Master Your Life Beyond the Boardroom. I am in on Nottingham studio, and I'm joined today with Ruby Witton,
Hello.
an elite gymnast who was on the Olympic pathway, now turned into a gym owner. And do you know what? I'm so excited to have you in. I'm going to get you in a second because, well, not putting a spoiler in here, but I do actually work as an independent personal trainer in Ruby and Dom's gym, which RS Fitness. Honestly, I'm not just plugging it in straight away, but I am, because it's a great gym to be a part of. The community is amazing. We're going to delve into that story as well. But she's been in something that was, well, she devoted her whole life to. And this is an experience I feel for Ruby today, and obviously for me and everybody watching this, to know her story, to get a bit of a deeper picture of what it was like being an athlete, then now being a business owner, and what that's been like behind the scenes. And obviously being a mum as well, mum of two boys and a wife. So Ruby, welcome to our
Thank you.
podcast. Are you
I'm
excited?
excited. Yeah.
I know obviously we've been sat, haven't we, for a couple of hours chatting
Yeah.
anyway about everything. Sam's behind the cameras. We had a bit of a blip with all audios and stuff.
Yeah.
That's the real of this. Just for anyone that, obviously I know I've sort of done a brief intro, but if anyone's sort of coming into this and they're not really sure what it is that you're doing right now, could you just give the audience a bit of an insight?
Yeah. So right now I own the gym. I am co-managing it. So Dom does a lot of the management side of things, and that's my husband. I teach classes. I enjoy teaching classes. That's my bread and butter. Like, I love it. But yeah, coming from an athlete background, and yeah, started exercise at 2 years old and I've not stopped yet.
Literally.
Just continue training.
Brilliant. So, for you, obviously, with I really want to know this sort of like gymnast life and world, because obviously these people that would have seen clips, snippets, and it's really obviously hard to see the full works of it. But if you was to sort of condense in a way of that experience, what has being an elite gymnast taught you now being a gym owner?
I think more than anything, it's taught me to be a hard worker. Like, I can say this 100% is I work hard. Like, whatever I want to do, I'll set my mind to it and I'll do it. Dedication, motivation, respect, like 100% coming from an elite athlete background as a child. Respect is a huge thing, not just for adults, but other athletes as well. And yeah, a whole host of different things. But I was traveling by myself without my parents from like being 9 years old, and so being responsible as well.
Yeah, so you've obviously had that independence.
Yeah,
Obviously you're an only child as well.
Yeah.
What was life like growing up, being on your own in sort of that world?
Yeah,
Was it intense or?
very intense. I think that my identity was Ruby the gymnast, and in some ways I did struggle with that. And I so desperately wanted to be just Ruby, like just a normal person. But it consumed my life entirely.
So when you say it consumed your life entirely, what that meant that there was nothing else that you could do, and it was just all Ruby, gymnast, or did you do anything else outside of that? Because how many years was it?
Oh my goodness, so 15 years maybe. Okay. Yeah, so I started as a dancer. I mean, at 2, I'm not sure how much dancing I actually did. But my mum and dad took me along to a dance class.
Yeah.
And I've always been passionate about dance, and like that transpires now into some of my classes and stuff like that. And whilst I was there was a gymnastics class that was on. And I got into that, and the coach was actually like, she's better at gymnastics than she's confident. So that's how it all kind of came about. But I had other hobbies as well. Like, my mum and dad always took me on nice holidays every year. We went snowboarding. I did that from being like 5 years old. And I used to love ice skating as well.
Right. So I'm just interested then. This is great. So your mum and dad was trying to humanize you in a way, trying to keep Ruby. Whilst did that? I mean, I'm just curious because obviously I've spoken with athletes on the show.
Yeah.
They've had to say that they weren't allowed to like go skiing.
Or
snowboarding or skating because of injuries happened.
Yeah, absolutely. So by the time I was kind of 13, 14 maybe, I was on the Olympic pathway. I was funded by lottery funded. And British Gymnastics kind of stepped in and was like, no more snowboarding. Like, if you go away and you get injured, we like are funding that. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
So at that point, I did stop. But for a few years leading up to that, we were enjoying maybe 1 or 2 skins and body holidays a year. I used to come back with tan lines. My mum would be like, "We just get on the beach one day." I come back with like boggle marks.
Oh, yeah, from
It was
skiing
like
so much.
games gave away, but yeah, we enjoyed that.
Ah, so
Yeah,
obviously you had a lot of fun,
yeah,
and your mum and dad was great on up to the age of 13. So how did that, like, make you feel, like, that being, I guess, that fun holiday
yeah,
side
yeah,
being
yeah.
stripped away at that
Yeah, I
age?
think it's a lot, but I think it's expected. Like I was on an intense training regime from like age 9. I won the British Championships at age 9,
Oh,
and
well
that's
done.
kind of what catapulted me into that pathway. And I think I knew the pressures. I knew the gymnastics wasn't just like a hobby; it was a job. You know, I was
Mm.
training 36 hours a week.
36 hours. So just for people who know you've obviously done
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
gymnastics, so 36 hours a week. You was where was you living? Where was you training? Was it a long?
Yeah. So I grew up in Mansfield Woodhouse,
Yeah.
and I trained in Mansfield until age of 7. I actually got scouted at the age of 6 at a like regional competition. And I came and spoke to my mum and dad and said she's got a real natural talent. We'd love to train her at Rushcliffe in Nottingham. And my mum and dad said no, it's too much. And spoke to me, and I was like, no, I really want to do it. I really, really want to do it. So the next year I went back to the same competition and I spoke to my parents again. And my mum kind of put it to me and was like, do you want to do it? And at that time I was like, yes, like, I want to go to the Olympics. Like, that's my dream. So then they put so much into it, and I went to train in Nottingham. And so they did the commute in there and back every day. And my grandma and granddad really helped with that as well. So this was like whilst I was at primary school, going through primary school. And then when it came to secondary school, I went to school at Rushcliffe, where the training centre was, just make it easier for my mum and dad. They both work full-time jobs.
Yeah.
So they used to drop me off about 6:30 in the morning, trained 7 till 10 a.m. in the morning, then made my way over to school. And I was at school until maybe 1:30 in the afternoon, and then started training again, and
Wow.
trained to about 6 o'clock in the evening.
No way.
Yeah.
So that was a big shock, obviously, even though I know Mansfield Waterhouse of Nottingham's not a
Yeah.
million miles away, but friends-wise, you had to start a new group of friends.
Absolutely.
How did you find not to go too much into the schooling, but
Yeah.
just what you've shared there about your training, school
Yeah,
training,
yeah, yeah.
how did you manage all of
So I think that I had to manage it well from being such a like young athlete, that we did get support in terms of like tutors and stuff like that.
that? Right.
But I was always like top set. Do you know what I mean? Like I
Okay.
put so much pressure on myself to perform not only in my gymnastics but in like academics as well. And it was important for me to. I was always told there's a life after gymnastics, and it was important for me to find that as well. So yeah, but managing it all was tricky. I can remember once being at a national camp and like being like, I've got coursework to do. Like I need
Right.
to get my coursework done.
I think it's really actually good that you was already thinking about life after gymnastics.
Yes.
How much did your family input and support have on that for you?
Yeah, loads. So I am an only child, and my mum and dad were always so supportive of my gymnastics, but they were always reminding me that it isn't forever, and it isn't. Like gymnastics career is like 18 years at the time, probably maximum. I mean, I've got friends doing it now that are in their 30s, which I think is phenomenal, like inspiring, amazing. But at the time, I never looked past 2020, like 2012, which was my Olympic year. That was what I was striving towards. And after that, it was always 2012 their retirement. Like I never looked further than that. No.
How can you look further than that? What was the?
I think the environment that I was in was very difficult as a teenager. And I think that I wasn't necessarily in a position that I enjoyed it, maybe throughout my teenage years.
Okay.
And I couldn't wait for it to be done. And that sounds awful, but age 15, 16, there's talks of scholarships in America. I could have gone over there and done all that kind of stuff, but I just couldn't think of 4 more years in gymnastics.
Right.
And I think perhaps half of me wishes I could have been in a bit more of a supportive environment so that I was able to enjoy those formative years of childhood and teenage years, so that I could have strived to be a better performing older gymnast, maybe 20, 21, 22, and I could have gone on for 2016 Olympics or 2021 Olympics, which it was because of COVID. But I never looked further than being 17 years old.
No, it was just
It was do it and then we're done.
yeah, understand that. And obviously you mentioned a few bits there.
Yeah.
Really great on the fact that, your mum and dad supported you. They always drilled it
Yeah.
into you that it was a forever thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And they're really hardworking people too, and have really been, succeeding in their own careers, which wasn't sport based, and I've always
Yeah.
looked up to that and aspired to that as well.
No, and that's really good. And I think obviously being an only child, for
Yeah.
them to own in on you, put full
Yeah,
attention
yeah.
onto you and obviously support this career. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like a full-time gig, really.
Yeah.
What sort of got my eyes wide and,
Yeah.
ears wide is obviously I've heard this quite commonly with athletes
Yes.
about the environment
Mhm.
that they're in. And obviously behind closed doors, there's things that have to stay behind closed
Yes.
doors. You said it was tough and not supportive.
Yes.
What, could you provide an example?
Yeah,
of where it's like-
absolutely. Like, I think that it wasn't necessarily one person or, even a group of people. It was just the culture of gymnastics at the time. And I think it's come on a long way from what it was. The culture at the time was, you struggled to thrive.
Mm.
If the education wasn't there around nutrition or around body makeup and, biology really, that is there now. And I think that throughout those formative teenage years, I think if I and maybe a group of other people were allowed to enjoy the sport for what it was, because I think like now coming away from it, I love gymnastics. Like watching gymnastics, I still am toe deep in gymnastics. I still do a bit of choreography and stuff like that. And I really do enjoy doing that. And I'm passionate about gymnastics, and I'm passionate about girls in sport. I'm passionate about young people in sport. And I think if I was allowed maybe to just enjoy those years, get through those years, and, I could have peaked a little bit later than what I did. And I feel a little bit sad that I never got my time to shine, I did shine, of course, and I've shined in other ways since.
Sure.
But in gymnastics, I think I could have done more.
Right. So when you say could have done more, what do you?
Olympics, World Championships, medals, all that. But I got a lot more from it than what I didn't get as well.
Was it so? What did you like? I'm trying to understand. Obviously,
Yes.
for the people, our listeners, and,
Mhm.
and people watching back on this, and people who's followed you for some time.
Yeah.
Was you holding yourself back, or was you distracted in any way? That.
Yeah. I think at the time there was a lot of pressure around weight.
Right.
And I did struggle with that in my teenage years, and
Understandable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I maybe carried more weight than what some of the other athletes were carrying. I was also more powerful than they were and stronger than they were,
There we go.
Yeah. And there is that as well. And there's other ways of looking at it. I don't think that powerful gymnasts were at the forefront of gymnastics at the time, though. And times move on and cultures change and education changes too. And looking after our bodies has become more important than ever, right? Like we know the importance of protein and refueling after workouts and, having carbohydrates, whereas that wasn't there. Like we were still in special K dinner era. Yeah, absolutely. Like when I was peaking, 2008, 2009, like think of diet culture in general at that time. And that fed down to us too. But yeah, no, I think that a lot of things have progressed from then. And I think, I am the hardest person, like worker in the room now. And I don't think maybe I was as a teenager. I think I relied on talent a little bit too much. And I will always say there is power in realizing that you are part of the problem. Like I'm not blaming anybody for me not making it. Like I was partly to blame for that. I think I could have done more.
Yeah.
And I know we spoke about this, but like running, for example, was used as a bit of a punishment if I was too heavy or I hadn't worked hard enough or I was disrespectful. And I think that like now I love running. Like I told myself for so long that I don't like running because it was used as a punishment. But like now, if you ask me to do those things I was asked to do then, oh God, I'd thrive, Yeah. It's just a different mindset.
It is, but it's also what you knew.
Yeah.
Like back then, and then obviously it takes coming back around in a full circle.
Yeah.
You've switched the mindset, like saying you viewed it differently.
Yeah.
So talk about the Special K, the sort of cotton box cereal. God, the worst. Diet, nutrition. Obviously, I'm taking it then that in your sort of era of the gymnasts were very like weight obsessed, body image obsessed. Obviously, I know you said it's called, but that's what it was like back then. Did that, behind closed doors, did that have an impact?
I think I can confidently say it didn't, but I know that it did for a lot of my teammates.
I was going to say as a team thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, it was common for me to know that girls were making themselves sick in the toilet. And, you know, like the culture was poor around diet, nutrition and body image.
Yeah.
I don't think it was something that I ever struggled with per se, because I did have support at home. But like, there was a lot of things that, like, for example, when we went out for meals as a family, like my mum and dad's friends, so like our family friends would always be like, Ruby's not allowed to eat that, or like Ruby can eat a lot. Wow, look how much she can put away. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, like I think it was just something that was known that Ruby is on a special diet because she's doing gymnastics at such a high level. And my mum and dad spoke to other parents from kids in Wales and in Liverpool and in, you know, London, and they were all doing the same. Like, they were treated the same. So I think it was just a culture thing of gymnastics rather than it being the blame of one person, you know?
Yeah. Get it. I mean, obviously, you don't know anything different. It's sort of, if that's what's going on, if that's deemed as what the way is.
And, you know, coming from the top, like, we were at the top stream of 12 girls in the country. And that we were being trained by the top people in the country. You just take what they say as gospel.
100%.
Yeah, like, I'm not in a position to question it.
No, you just listen.
Yeah, I'm a child.
You trust in that. So with the sort of, like, I'd say, restrictiveness of like the nutrition.
Yeah.
How old was you when that sort of come into more?
So I was 9.
9 years old.
9 years old when we started testing, where you test your fitness levels, you test strength levels, and then you test your body, which is weight and caliper testing.
Yeah.
So fat percentage testing from 9 years old.
That's bad.
I do think that's changed now.
Yeah, of course. I'm just saying that it's pretty bad.
I think that, absolutely. And I think they've recognised that now.
Right.
And I think gymnastics has a lot more advocates of people that are coming out the other side. Like, I'm 30 years old, you know?
Yeah.
And there's people now in positions within British gymnastics that have had that experience and can know the negative connotations of that experience and really helping to change the culture.
Yeah. No, I mean, obviously things come out of change, but I just think just for our audience, even you probably say, I mean, when you say it, like, as in, body fat test at 9, all these different types, not like, does it make you feel a certain way? Because
I think it does now, remember.
Yeah.
I think
because you think from a different mind.
Yeah, absolutely. I see it from my kids now, and I think, oh my God, that's wild.
Yeah.
But we didn't know any different.
No, I know. I mean, obviously, if you as a parent, obviously not going for and that was part of your regime being at the top, you just be like, well, if that's what they say, you know, you just sort of do it. There's something that you said earlier on, which I just want to pick back up on, because I like this, because obviously I think fire is really important.
Yeah.
Obviously, you've got that massive value as well with your family. And you said that you sort of went back home to a supporting family.
Yes.
So was that something that your team had as well, or was that just something?
I think most of us did.
Yeah.
I think maybe some of us struggled at home more than others did with the pressure of being a high level athlete. I think that it's easy as parents to get carried away. Like, your kid shows a talent in something and we can push because we think that's what they want. Maybe it isn't, you know? Maybe they're scared of just being disappointing, you know? But I can say, like, from my experience, I took more from it than I lost, but it was my whole childhood. Like, I was just Ruby the gymnast my whole childhood. But my mum and dad really did work hard to make sure I'd got a happy home life as well.
Yeah. Did you find it hard to do, like, teenage stuff, kid stuff outside of gymnastics?
Absolutely. I'm not sure I ever got the teenage experience.
Yeah.
I mean, I met my husband when I was 18 as well, so like, I never really,
big commitments there.
Yeah, like, we never really did like wild nights out or, you know, that kind of thing. And I think that was what I craved as a teenager. I just wanted to be normal. I just really did want to be normal. I wanted to be able to go out and meet boys and get drunk and some of the stuff that normal teenagers do. And I, you know, now I think, oh my God, how silly. Like, then you wanted that and you jeopardized your chance at success for that. But as a teenager, you're in a different mindset, aren't you?
Yeah, you find yourself, you know, you've got hormones, obviously, and all that kind of stuff. So when did Ruby the gymnast sort of end? Yeah.
So it ended when I was 16.
Okay.
I think I was just about to turn 17 before the Olympic trials, before any of that. There was a point in which I was like, enough is enough. I've had enough. I remember picking my bag up that day and saying, I'm not coming back.
Right.
And I didn't. And I wholeheartedly regret that decision in the way that I think I had so much more to give.
Okay.
It just wasn't constructive in that environment for me to do it there.
Okay.
I did go back. And
so when you're saying about how long was the difference?
So after gymnastics, I went on to cheerleading.
Okay.
And I did it recreationally. That's like the most I can say. It was fun. And I did it at Sutton Centre, like dead local. I had so much fun. Like, we were not the best, you know, but we loved it. Like, all of us, we were similar ages, similar mindsets, like just girls coming together and having a good time. It was wonderful.
Oh.
And during this time, I met another girl who trained in Leeds. And she says, we're going to the World Championships this year. Do you fancy coming? And I was like, what? Like, this is wild. But I had a lot of skills that these other girls could only dream of having because I've got 15 years of gymnastics behind me. And I did. And I ended up going to train in Leeds every weekend. And I went to the World Championships and I went for 2 years. So I did that for 2 years.
Yeah. Oh.
Then after, I thought, I think I could dabble in this gymnastics thing again. I never got the point of saying, this is my last competition. Like, I'm done after this, you know? And I felt like that ending was sort of taken away from me a little bit. And I wanted to own that. So I went to some adults gymnastics clubs with my old coach, gymnastics sessions, and just had a go. And believe it or not, I could still do all my old skills, which was wild.
Never lose it.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, my knees suffered and my back suffered, but I could still do it. And I remember her talking to me. She's like, why don't you do that one more competition? And I was like, yeah, okay. So I did. And that was 2016. I went back and I just did I don't even know what competition it was, but it was like a team competition for East Midlands.
Yeah.
And I had a great time. It was wonderful.
So, okay, this is good then. So obviously at that time, if you're talking about 2016, I'm sure you met Dom.
Yeah, I met Dom. Yeah, we were getting married in 2017.
Oh my gosh.
And I was already 2 years into PT.
Right. Okay. So we are going to get on that. So obviously, but I was just going to say, what was different? Like, what was you doing in your life when you decided to go back on a recreational level? Because obviously you've got to earn a living.
So I was literally just going maybe 2-3 times a week to these adult gymnastics sessions. And I was PTing. So after I'd finish at like 8 o'clock in the evening in Mansfield, I used to put my leotard on, get in the car, drive over to Nottingham, do my adult gymnastics session, and just do it when and if I could, really. It wasn't like a structured thing, like it was when I was doing it full time. But yeah, so I was balancing PT and then training on the side. But I did really find that enjoyment.
Yes, you did.
Because that was really important for me. I didn't want to leave gymnastics. I suppose it's like a toxic relationship, right? Like, you know, you want to be able to get all your feelings out on the table. And that's how I felt with my sport. That I felt like I need to be in control of this.
Do you think it, I can completely relate. Do you think that changed sort of your like mindset with the gymnastics because you had an alternative career? You know, because obviously you was doing personal training. Did it make you sort of feel that enjoyment with that rather than it being like, this is going to be my sort of...
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I can remember talking to one of the coaches at one of the adult gymnastics sessions, and we were like, oh, if we did a World Cup, or we could do this, or we could do that. And I was like, well, this is not what I'm doing it for. This is for me. Like, I'm in control of this. Like, this is my, like, I can still do it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And do you know when you, I mean, obviously I'm all about people and kids and stuff like that. And obviously, you know, when you sort of join those girls at sort of centre, you're on a recreation.
Yeah.
How did you feel sort of, I'm not saying low, I don't want to say lower yourself to them, but obviously you've been in the elite.
Yeah.
And I like I said, I'm not saying they weren't elite, but I just wondered how you, because I know sometimes when you've got that athlete's mindset, you sort of go into this recreation and you're like, serious.
Yeah, do you know what? Absolutely. Because even though I could do all the tumbling, and I could, and I liked showing it off at that point. Like, there was a point in my life when we'd go on holiday, for example, and everyone does flips along the beach, right? If you can do a backflip, you've got to do it on a beach.
You love a flip.
Yeah, I love it. But there was a point where I wouldn't want to do it because I didn't want people to ask me, are you a gymnast? Like, I didn't want to talk about it. Whereas like being in that room in Sutton Centre, I loved it. Like I loved people being like, wow, look what she can do. I want to be able to do that one day. Like I loved that. And there was a lot of skills that I couldn't do because it was cheerleading. It wasn't gymnastics, you know, and I was learning new things. I was learning stunts. I was being lifted in the air. I was doing jumps and, you know, and it was a different sport, even though it had a lot of the same fundamentals.
And what did cheerleading give you though? Fun.
Yeah, 100% enjoyment.
And obviously you were craving that from gymnastics.
Yeah.
So when you returned back then,
yeah,
what was different?
My mindset had completely changed. Like I was there for me, and it wasn't for medals or for podium finishers or for a team even. Like it was for me. I was doing that because I wanted to do it. Nobody was telling me to do it. And I think the other thing was as well is, and from thinking in an athlete way, is my body like perception had completely changed. Like, I was a lot more in control of my body. I could correct myself better because I had got more experience. I was stronger because I've been lifting weights for 5 years at this point, you know, and I was just in a better state. I'd come through those teenage years and come out the other side stronger, harder working, and, you know, more aware of my body.
Yeah, so this sounds a little bit like I don't want to say self-discovery, but
Yeah.
like a reinvention part. You found a newer, to more full version of Ruby.
Yeah.
How did that sort of, so obviously, you know, with family and stuff like that, because I know what it's like. I mean, obviously your parents now, you and Don, but obviously your parents, how did they like communicate with you when you sort of said, look, I'm done with this elite gymnastics world, I'm going to be a bit more normal?
Yeah.
How did they find? Because sometimes parents are like, I'm not saying fall out, but it can be like, oh, I'm disappointed. Because
my mum and dad have been asking me to stop for years.
Really?
Yeah, honestly.
Okay.
So like for years I was unhappy. I wouldn't say I was depressed. Like
No.
But I was like coming home from the gym and I was like, oh, I'm still too heavy, and you know. And again, I think there's power in the fact that I wasn't doing anything about that. Like there's so much now, education wise, that I know that I could have been doing that I wasn't doing because I didn't know, you know. And there's power in saying that I was part of that problem, but nothing's changing. I've been on the cross trainer for 40 minutes. You know, I'm not allowed on the bars today. You know, this, and I was getting frustrated. And I remember my mum and dad sitting me down and being like, "Ruby, just stop." But I didn't, because I wanted to see it through. I really did want to see it through. And I didn't want to disappoint them either. Like that, they'd put a lot into it. You know, them and my grandparents and my whole family were behind me. And, you know, everyone that I'd been to school with knew that that was what I was trying. I didn't want to let anyone down.
I was just going to say, did you feel like you?
I did feel a little bit like that. But, you know, and I think you've just got to then realise that what is productive for you. You know, not
I can see
dealing with everyone else around you. Like, you've got to do it for you. You've got to want it. And I don't think I wanted it enough. So yeah, they were begging me to stop for years and years. And then when I did stop, I was 16 and my mum says, I think you should get a job. And I was like, okay, like, not because she wanted anything from me, like no way in this world would she ask for anything, but she wanted me to meet normal people that weren't in the gymnastics world.
Yeah, to come into society.
Yeah, absolutely.
Find my place. Yeah, because obviously those kind of worlds are like a bubble, aren't they? A different world.
Yeah, and I didn't know who I was away from gymnastics. I needed to find who I was in a normal role. Yeah.
So so you say you find a job.
Yeah.
What job was that?
So actually, it was one of the girls at cheerleading. So I'd already started doing this cheerleading, and she was taking on some Christmas temps from a retail position. Oh, right. And I went in as Christmas temp, and I just turned 16. Well, I was 16 and a half. And I was useless. I was absolutely useless to start off with. I will say that, to start off with. I can remember people coming in and me being like, talk to them, don't give them eye contact, like, how do I stand? Where do I?
Yeah.
And I grew into it. And I will say retail, like, gave me all the confidence and all of the people skills and that I use today, you know, in what I do today. And it was the best foot in the door that I could have had for life after gymnastics. It was great.
No, that's really good. Obviously, I can see that you've sort of found people,
Yeah.
that opportunities have arisen,
Yeah,
you've
yeah,
sort
yeah.
of jumped in, you've found yourself. I can see there's a lot of circulation around for me. You know,
Yeah.
you're really putting that
Yeah,
work
yeah,
back
yeah.
for you.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
you're prioritizing you. So obviously your mum and dad supported you since day dot.
Yeah.
You know, you come into the world, you then found the job in
Yeah.
retail. So you said about PT and then going into
So
when
that was actually came from Dom.
right.
So we met whilst I was working in retail, and I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. I always, like I said, being 15, 16 years old, there was always talk about me going to America to do a scholarship.
Yes.
And that was always on the cards for me to go and do university in America. Now, when I did say I was top set and I did put a lot of pressure on my academics, I didn't for A-levels because I didn't want to go to university.
Right.
So I will say I did go to sixth form. I can't even remember what I got, you know, like it didn't matter because I knew I didn't want to go to university. And I was speaking to Dom, and my idea was always that I would finish elite gymnastics and I'd go and Cirque du Soleil. That was what I always wanted to do. I don't know if you've seen Cirque du Soleil.
I have. Well, I've seen snippets. I'm not able to watch a show, but yeah.
So that was always what I wanted to do. And what I thought I would do. And, you know, I can remember me going to these adult gymnastics sessions and putting together a bit of a reel of what I could do or my skill set and that kind of thing.
Show reel, basically.
Yeah, but I am a complete homebird. And I wasn't sure how I would be living away from home. I mean, I've done a lot of time away from home. I used to do weekends every month at national training camps. I've traveled the world. I've done weeks and weeks away from home. I wasn't sure how I would be actually setting myself up in Las Vegas. So
I know, but 4 years, it's a long time.
I know, but even like for Cirque du Soleil, even one season, I wasn't sure how I would be with that. And I remember me and Dom having a conversation of like, what do you want to do? You know, and he was like, I think you'd be a great personal trainer. And, you know, you've got the skills, you've got the background, you've been in the environment, you know more about nutrition than anybody else.
Yeah.
You know more about managing injuries and more about, you know, getting fit, really. And why don't you do a personal training course? So I spoke to my mum and dad and they were like, I think that's a great idea. And I think we did the same course, actually. Yeah, I think you were a little bit later than me doing it, but the 6-week course in Nottingham.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
The training room.
Yeah, the training room course. So I did that.
It was good, though, wasn't it?
It was great.
Yeah, fairly personal.
But, and literally for me, it was just about having my name on that certificate. Like everything that they taught, I'd been doing my whole life.
Was it the waterfront?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I did.
Yeah.
Same, yeah.
But again, like I met a whole mixture of people that did weightlifting, people that did martial arts, people that did bodybuilding. And I'd only ever been in a gymnastics or cheerleading environment.
Right.
I was like, bodybuilding, what's weightlifting? Do you know what I mean? Like people as we did it. And yeah, so I did that, did a 6-week course and then got a job at Pure Gym. Yeah,
because they filtered through.
Yeah.
Then into Pure Gym. Oh my god! So when was that? What year?
That was early 2014.
Yeah. That was 2015. Yeah. Oh my days, that's crazy. So no, great. I'll probably train with this delay. So Pure Gym, then your life started there. Personal training. What was that like when you first started?
When I first started, I was only, what was I? 18. I was 18. Yeah, so I was really young. But what I will say is the Pure Gym in Mansfield specifically, it was the only like super gym in the area at the time.
Wow.
Like there wasn't any Times or JD's or Everlast. Or it was the only big gym.
I can't remember being there training.
Literally, you know, and it was awesome. Like they had an awesome team.
Yeah.
They, you know, had awesome PTs, and I was one of only a few female PTs.
Right.
And I knew what I was talking about. I was confident in what I was talking about, and I picked up clients quite easy. But I did also thrive teaching classes. I loved it. So I used to teach spinning, I used to teach tums, step aerobics, pump. And that exercise to music specifically set me alight. I loved it. And like being in front of a crowd, putting on my jazz hand performance, you know what I mean? Like that's where
it was you that were driving it though.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, so it was like, no, it was like they were coming to your sort of show.
Yeah, absolutely.
In a way. So it was, again, it was about you and they loved you, they bought into you, they knew your energy, and that allowed you to
Yeah. Within that first year, I did become really successful with one-to-one PT. And again, I was passionate about it. I loved it.
So with that then, so just if any, because there might even be people who are considering doing some fights.
Yeah.
So PT, you got qualified. Obviously, how many personal trainers were at the gym at the time?
I don't know, maybe 6 or 7.
Right, 6 or 7 PTs.
Yeah.
So in the first year, you had obviously no clients in the diary. Where did you finish after
I
years?
didn't even know in Mansfield at this point because
She'd always been.
I'd always been in Nottingham.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously, me and Dom are both from Mansfield.
Yeah.
And I was just finding my feet. Within the first year, I would say I got, I don't know, maybe 35 clients.
Amazing.
Like, it was awesome. It was awesome.
Well, there you go.
PT was kind of a new thing, man.
I know it was, yeah.
It wasn't that it is now. Like,
No.
it was people, and it was, yeah, like people were able to get we did packages and we did, you know, group sessions, and there was all different ways to access personal training at the time. And it was great. But within that first year, I did become too busy with one-to-one stuff, and I dropped off classes.
Okay.
And I went on to like what they call like a run basis.
Yeah.
And I did that for like another 4 years. 4 years doing that. And again, loved it.
So you did that. So that's 2014, 2018.
Yeah.
Obviously, Dom sort of, that's what's always good, I think, when you got support.
Yeah.
But part of the time,
Absolutely.
just sort of give you a bit of perspective on
Yeah.
where you could go. You become a.
Dom's always been a driving force for me. And I think like everybody feels like this, whether it's your partner, but like Dom is my biggest fan. Do you know what I mean?
So I can tell he is.
Yeah.
I know, he'll be probably like screaming through the screen. It's like,
oh, I know. But like he was always like, you can do this, like you'll be good at doing this. Do you know what I mean? And he really saw my potential probably before I saw it.
Yeah, and that's what's good.
Yeah.
Finding somebody caught like that.
Yeah.
So what you got to imagine, right? Just to really, I just want the audience to understand it, because I think this is actually massive success for you, and I'm really proud of this. At 18 years old, you become a business owner.
Absolutely.
You ran your own business your way.
And except from like a few years in retail, I've never worked for it.
But this is what I mean.
Yeah.
So you know, like, but you said you were super confident. You know, you had a great environment. There was such a buzz.
Yeah.
I mean, you can say time is everything. Obviously, you came in and excited. Like PT was exciting. There was like so much accessibility. What's probably the first thing? You know, if someone's sort of like, you know, listening on and thinking, I want to start my own business, regardless of whether it's fitness or just what was the first thing that you learned about being your own business owner that you think it's important for people to know?
I think managing time.
Right.
Yeah. So like within those first few years, I was in the gym at 6 a.m. and I was leaving the gym at 9:30 p.m.
Oh yeah.
And honestly, I'm sure you were the same.
Yeah.
But as a business owner, you are your cheapest commodity.
Agreed.
And you are your most loyal employee because you care about this business more than anybody else. And I think just being able to have the time to dedicate to your business is essential.
Yeah. Because I don't know who you are, you've got to show up regardless.
Yeah.
If, you know,
absolutely.
And
there was times where maybe I had a session in at like 6 a.m. and I was a yes man. Like I said yes to everything. You want a session at 6 a.m. Yes, I have a session. My next one 8 or 9. Right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit and I'm going to be available between 7 and 9. And I used to sit at that front desk and I used to wait for people to come over and be like, Ruby, can you just give me a hand on? Would you show me how to use?
Right.
Are you available for an induction? Yes. And, you know, but I was passionate about it.
Yeah, you loved it. Did you ever hit like a place where you're exhausted, or was there a time where, you know, I know Don, your biggest fan, said, "Oh, Ruby, I think you're doing a bit too much."
I think that No, I was so passionate about it, honestly. Like, I think that there was definitely mornings. I can remember somebody once asking for a session at 4 a.m.
No.
Honestly, and I was like, yeah, okay. And Dom got up with me and drove me to the gym. Wow. Like, he was sat at that table whilst I was doing this session. And, you know, there was times where I felt PT was kind of a little bit, I'd reached my peak with PT. Like, my diary was fully booked.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to do my best for clients in and out of the gym. And I felt like, where do I go next? Like, what happens next? But I never lost that passion for it.
So what happened next then?
So I, at the time, was doing some on-demand stuff. Alongside, because like I said, my bread and butter is teaching classes. I loved it. And I was missing. Yeah, I was missing it. And I started doing some on-demand sessions. We used to rent Thames Village Hall, right?
No way.
Yeah, so we used to set up the cameras Dom used to film me. I used to teach the sessions. We used to upload them online, and people would pay a small fee per month
Okay.
to have on-demand sessions.
What was it like then? What was it like?
Like £9 a month.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And I got all over doing it. I had even people in Australia. Yeah, like it was wicked. It was really, really good. It wasn't enough to probably me to stop PTing.
No.
But it was enjoyable. I loved it.
Well, it was another way. It was a different revenue stream.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it all came into fruition really with lockdown. We'd already got the on-demand background, you know?
So
we'd already got sessions uploaded from 5-6 years before, which was wild.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we started that, and then I was paying Pure Gym a rent each month. And it was, I mean, now it's fair, but then it felt like a lot of money. And I can remember once the regional manager came, and I was seeing at this point maybe 50 clients a week. Like, people were joining Pure Gym to work with me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't just people that I was picking up off the treadmill. Like,
no,
there was people that were hearing about me and coming to Pure Gym to work with me.
Yeah.
And I remember the assistant manager coming in, and he didn't even know my name. And I thought, I'm so undervalued here. And I can remember that feeling. And the management was great. The other staff at the time was great. But I can remember this assistant manager, this regional manager. And I thought, you don't even know my name. Like, I'm working with 50 clients a week here, and I'm probably the most successful female PT that this gym's ever had, and you don't even know my name.
That is.
And I can remember thinking, I'm worth more than this. At the time, I thought, like, I deserve more than this. I can't do this forever. Where does it start? Sorry.
So
I just kicked you under the table.
Boom.
Yeah, straight in the shed.
Yeah.
And I said to Dom, I think I could get me a place. And again, he was 100% behind me, like, back to me, 1,000,000%. Let's start looking for some faces. So we did.
So that was the trigger.
Yeah.
Just because someone. No, I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
But you felt undervalued.
I think at the time I was already at my peak. Like, what else can I do? My diary is full. How do I progress from this point? At this point, I'm 21, 22 years old. So what happens next? And then this regional manager came in, and I thought, I was so undervalued here.
Yeah. So talk to us then, because RS Fitness, right? Yeah. So you got your gym.
So it wasn't that easy.
Yeah. You got your gym.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then we went to view some properties, and the property that we ended up on, Dom was like, oh, I don't know about this, Ruby. Like, it needs a lot of work. It was actually a show. Like, there was no walls where I wanted the walls. I was like mapping it out. This is where I want this. But if you want it and you believe in it, let's go for it. So we did. And it took a year. There was loads of obstacles along the way, but we managed to do it. And we opened in January 2019.
Brilliant. And then obviously, what would you say at the time with your gym? What was like your unique selling point? What was
so at the time, we tried to be too much. We tried to be something to everyone.
Okay.
We wanted to be an open gym, and we wanted to teach classes. And I think then we really became passionate about group training. Like I said, I love teaching sessions. And do you know what? I know I'm really good at teaching those sessions. Like, at the end of every session that we do, we give a round of applause, and we'll say, like, well done to you. Do you know what I mean? And I know when they're doing that, they cannot go anywhere else and get a session as good as what they've just had. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, I know that there is amazing fitness facilities, but I do believe we're up there with, like, one of the best. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I think it was probably 6 months in, we realised that we needed a bit more of a target, maybe a bit more of a
target audience. Yeah.
And that's when we said, like, group training's our thing.
So you hit this is amazing. And obviously you hit group training to 2019. What, it opened 2019?
January 2019.
January 2019. So you was based in, where was that? Mansfield.
Mansfield.
So how long was you at Mansfield?
Well, 2019, the first year, we were flying. Like, 35 people in a session. Maybe we took on too much.
Okay.
And I think that there, again, is a lot of power in experience, and knowing that having that exclusivity is also an attribute. Like, you don't need to get everybody in to please everybody. You know, it's okay for there to be a waiting list, or there's, And that first year we were flying, loving it, learning along the way, really going for it, finding ourselves, finding our niche, finding, you know, what we were as a business. Dom came on board at that time as well. So Dom's been a footballer for most of his life.
Yeah.
You know, that's how
Yeah.
we know each
Yeah.
other. And he was like, I'm passionate about exercise as well. He studied sport in college, and he was like, it's time for me to really do what I want to do now as well. And we were flying, and then COVID hit, March 2020.
So everything was going great. So what shifted for you guys, you know, you and Dom and RS Fitness after COVID? What happened?
Well, I think like it was really difficult because I was managing PT. So I was still PTing as I was at Pure, but in my own facility.
Yes.
And I was teaching classes. And we've got a great group of trainers with us at that time. And we've got great staff that was working for us at that time. And we were really covering all bases, you know? But I was also 28 weeks pregnant when we were hit to lockdown.
Oh.
So I'd, you know, was going into the third trimester of being pregnant as well. And I knew things had got to slow down for me because I wanted to be a mom. Like it was everything that we'd ever dreamed of. And I was ready to perhaps take that step back a little bit. And then when COVID hit, it forced it, really. But like I said, we had been working on demand for years prior to that. And that was what we did. We did it online for the months leading up to Kay being born.
So, I mean, obviously it's been really fast paced. I want to get on, because we are getting towards like the end of this episode. I want to get to the point of obviously RS shift. You're now moved towards a village, which is in Tibshelf.
Yes.
How is that been? Because I know that's only opened up January again.
Yes.
But January 2025. So how has that been different?
So being in Tibshelf has been awesome. Honestly, it's been amazing. So Tibshelf is a long time coming.
Okay, long time.
So
in the works.
So before we even opened in Mansfield, I was teaching lessons with tools in the community, and I was doing it in Tibshelf.
Okay.
And I think I've used to come actually.
She probably did.
Yeah, I think she did. And with Ellie, and you know, it was wonderful. And Dom's from Tibshelf, and he always said before we opened in Mansfield, let's go to Tibshelf. Let's do it in Tibshelf. There's, you know, there's nothing there. There needs to be something there. You know, and we're passionate about getting communities moving. But because my client base was Mansfield, I'm from Mansfield. I wanted to stay in Mansfield. And the idea was always for us to have two eventually.
Yeah.
So we always wanted Mansfield and Tibshelf. And then in December 2023, Drew was 6 months old, my second child. We got the news that our Mansfield facility was going to be forced to close because of building problems that we were dealing with at the Mansfield facility. And it was at that point, Tibshelf was already in the works, but nobody knew. So we've been keeping the secret maybe 6 months at this point, just to see how things kind of panned out with them. We didn't know how long it was going to take. We didn't want to give people dates and not be able to commit to those dates and that kind of thing. So we moved into a temporary fix in the chapel in Tibshelf for the 2024 year, the whole of 2024. And at the time, it felt like the end of the world. Like it really, really did, because I was going from the gym that I loved and I was, you know, emotionally attached to in Mansfield, to this chapel that was just one room, but we loved it. It like being in that community, it was amazing. And you know, I feel like everybody in Tibshelf has opened it, like let us come in with such open arms and looked after us, and you know, joined us and can see our ethos and wants to get fit, and you know, bringing people together. Until we were ready to open in January 2025, our full facility where we are now.
Yeah, and I second that, by the way. You can tell it's community, but I mean, the chapel now is a floor.
I know.
So just how...
I'm glad it's being used then.
Yeah, of course. But that being a temporary, you know, you never planned that out. You thought you'd lose it all.
Honestly, we walked in, I thought, how's this ever going to work?
Yeah,
but it did.
Did you think that, you know, with just being that forced closure in, you know, end of 2023, and then all this changeover, did you feel like RS Fitness was over dead? Did you feel that it was...
I think we definitely had conversations of, we go to Tibshelf and it change it. We, thrive and do all that, or we just get normal jobs and we move on. And it just
sink or swim.
Yeah, and it just be a phase of our life that we had for a short amount of time. But like I say, the support that we've been given in Tibshelf has been astronomical.
Yeah, I can see it.
Like, we first inquired about a unit in Tibshelf in 2015. So it was 10 years in the making, a long time. I mean, we went away and I got cold feet because I was 20.
Yeah.
I wasn't ready to commit to that. And it took a lot for us to get to Tibshelf, but our landlord knew us, believed in us, and supported us. And it's just been incredible since we've done that.
And do you know what's incredible? It's what it was before. Tell people what it actually was before.
It was actually a pub.
That's mad, isn't it?
And from the outside, it still looks like a pub.
It does.
But on the inside, it's been transformed.
Yeah. Open gym, group everything, personal
fuel
training.
bar.
Yeah, fuel bar, can't forget that. It's brilliant. So just to sort of like conclude this move, for you as the gym owner, I know Dom's obviously part of it as well. What's been the best thing that you can say about being now in Tibshelf at the facility that you're at?
It's just the community. It is amazing. And I think that, having the people around you that wholly support you as people, it's not just the business, it's so much more than that. And having that amazing facility as well, like, it's more than I could have ever dreamed of. It's escalated into more than what I ever thought was possible. And being able to bring that to a small community in Tibshelf, like, it's a village, and so many people have changed their lives because of the facility, and they've been able to fall in love with exercise because of the group training, and they've had access to exercise because of the open gym, and we've opened up doors to fitness for so many people that perhaps wouldn't have had it otherwise. I'm really proud of this.
That's so good. So good. You're so right as well. And it's obviously me being a small part of that and seeing it has been honestly amazing. So hats off to you and Dom and the team. So question I'm going to ask you, it's the final one as a bit of a wrap up of this episode.
Yes.
It's one I ask every single guest, Ruby. So I'd love to know from your mind, your perspective, your passion, energy, what does mastering your life mean to you?
Mastering your life means all aspects are covered. Yeah. So mastering your time, mastering your passions, and mastering your freedom, to do what you want to do. And you can be and do whatever you put your mind to.
It's brilliant. I love those little aspects of the mastering part and brilliant like that. But no, honestly, if anybody is like so engaged in what you said, I'm sure there will. There's been so much great feedback on this. Where's the best place people can connect with you and maybe start a conversation if they want to ask any questions?
Yeah, so I would say on my Instagram, my inbox is always open, and ready to answer any questions anybody might have.
Brilliant. If anybody wants to check out your gym, where is it based? Is that on Instagram?
On Instagram or on Facebook, RS Fitness Studios. And we're on the High Street in Tibshelf. Come in, get a coffee, and we'll show you around.
Fantastic, brilliant. And final thing from me, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
For joining.
Really enjoyed it.
Good. Thanks. So high. Thanks again.